Mike, how's it going there today?
Going well. I'm in Lake Tahoe, which is a beautiful spot overlooking the lake from my home here. And yeah, plenty of time on my hands lately.
That's right. You pretty much went from 150 shows or so a year to kind of just being home. And fortunately, you did record the This Too Shall Pass single. How long was it from wanting to do the single to actually having it out?
Well, after about 2 weeks of being, quarantined in my home in Tahoe, I guess our last show was very early March. I was thinking, well, so many people, so many millions of people, in fact, the world is going through such problems and issues having to do with this virus and the pandemic and all. So I wanted to write something that recognized the fact that we're all going through this, in various degrees. Some people really in the front lines. In fact, one of the lines in the song is doctors and nurses working real hard. And so, but I wanted to come out with a message of positivity as well. So I believe the best is yet to come, and we'll get back to having fun in the sun. So, it kind of harkens back to the early Beach Boys, but I've always been a person who's tried to accentuate the positive, even in the midst of negativity. And we've all, in the 6 decades almost that we've been existing as a group, we've been through a lot of stuff, whether it be the Vietnam War or student unrest or civil rights. And, so for me, I was trying to, just let people know that, like all things, George Harrison said all things must pass, but this too shall pass. And I just want to leave a message of hope. And it was really interesting doing it because we never saw each other in person, all the guys in the band that played on it and sang on it, and including John Stamos, who put the video together and played drums for the video and everything. So it was a unique way of doing things, but it was just something I wanted to do to get a message of positivity out there in the midst of all the doom and gloom.
Sure. And as somebody who's been following you for decades, who has celebration music on vinyl and all that, I'm very aware of your discography. And it's pretty amazing to me that your last studio album was 1981 or so, and then in the last few years, you did Unleash the Love in 2017, Reason for the Season 2018, 12 Sides of the Summer last year, This Too Shall Pass already in 2020. What is it that inspired you to just get so productive in the last few years?
Well, for years I've been stockpiling things, but been, sort of favoring the Beach Boys compilations and other projects. We did that album project in 2012. That's Why God Made the Radio was the song from that album that was promoted. And we did our 2012 50th anniversary tour. And so it just made, being the lead singer and co-writer of so many of the songs of the Beach Boys catalog, I just wanted to, put a little extra attention on that. And I do, as you mentioned, might have been more than 150 shows were set up for this year. I think the most we ever did was like 160 something or 70. But so we've been so active with the Beach Boys, I haven't felt the impulse or the desire to do solo things per se, other than the one you mentioned in 1981. But, after being a little dormant in the recording area as the Beach Boys, I still felt, I wanted to do a Christmas album. And I did it with my sister Maureen, who played the harp, and several of my children, Christian, who tours with us and sings beautifully. I mean, he sings God Only Knows and gets standing ovations. Has such a great voice. And then my son Brian, as well as my daughter Amba, who sang the lead on The Warmth of the Sun on one of the albums you mentioned. So I just felt that, I wanted to get active and get recording and stuff. And similarly, when it came to This Too Shall Pass, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was thinking, we have it pretty good. I mean, we've been touring the world for decades, and our music has been appreciated by millions. And so many people are having a rough time, whether they lost their way of making a living, if so many people unemployed and funds are scarce. So I figured, well, let's do put out a song that has a message of positivity in it. And that's what I did. And I also have an idea for other songs, other projects yet to come. So, but with all this time off, it gives you a lot of time to think about things and get your thoughts in order. So, but the beautiful thing is that we're healthy and have the energy and desire to be positively creative. And so we have a lot to be thankful for. And it's interesting the way we did this song is we never saw each other in person, but I called our keyboard player, Tim Bonhomme, who was living in Vegas, and I went over the tempo and the key with him to get the right key for me to sing. And then he sent it on to our musical director, Scott Totten, who's in Lakeland, Florida. And he put a little basic track together with the drums, bass, guitar, and stuff like that. But then we had vocals and saxophone and, other instruments done by, our guys who were in various different places. It must have been about 9 different places that my son Christian was in Santa Barbara, and he did his vocals there. And one of the guys who sings the high part and was 18 years with the 4 freshmen. His name is Brian Eichenberger. He lives in Nashville, so he did his parts there. The saxophone also Nashville. And so, it was just really an interesting way of doing things. It sounds like we were all together in the studio, but we didn't meet up one time. I just I have a studio in my home in Tahoe, and our Tom Gordon, our engineer, came up and we videoed me and I sang the lead, and so we captured that, and we all sent in our images doing our parts, and then John Stamos put the whole video together. He worked hours on that thing, and I think he came out really good. And I have a debt of gratitude to John for using his skills to put the album together. And you can see that, not the album, but the video together, and you can see it on YouTube. And it's really fun. It's really a fun video, I think.
I do have a question for you about John Stamos after this one, but the last time I interviewed you was 2 to 3 years ago, and during that interview, you got a phone call from Jeffrey Foskett, who had just discovered some kind of an archival release that you were thinking of putting out. And one thing that we haven't discussed is how many great archival releases there have been from you and from the Beach Boys in the last 3 or 4 years. Is there lots and lots more in the vault that we could one day hope to hear?
Well, I don't know how much there is in the vault, but I'll tell you that we're coming up on probably the 60th anniversary of the group in another year or so. And that warrants something special, that's for sure. And so I've got some ideas on that, but a little too early to talk about it. But I think there will be opportunities to come up with compilations and as you say, archival, but also new renditions with other artists and stuff of many of our songs. And that'll be a lot of fun to do. And I think I'm looking forward to what the future may bring.
That's right. In the last couple of years, you've done recordings or collaborations with Hanson, Mark McGrath, Marky Ramone, Dave Koz, AJR, and all that. And if we go back decades, you worked with the Fat Boys in the early days of hip hop being a mainstream
We sure
thing.
did.
And
That was the number one song on MTV for about a month.
Right.
Pretty amazing.
Still looks great to me. So you've covered all these different genres and all that. Do you hope to do a lot more collaborations with other artists?
I would like that. I think it's very enjoyable. In fact, in the touring side of things, we're looking to do some, co-headlining or co-bills with various, groups and individuals. And I think it's really, for instance, we've done 3 different times. We've done the Beach Boys in Chicago. And the first couple times, we did an amazing encore together. It was just unbelievably powerful. And so musically and artistically and performance-wise, those collaborations can be, unbelievably great. Sometimes you just do your own thing and they do their own thing and stuff, but it really is special, I think, when you can collaborate with people, both on recordings and in live concert.
And the name John Stamos came up a few times before. I do remember a talk show appearance that Don Rickles once made where he was talking about seeing the Beach Boys with him. He referred to you guys accidentally as the Beachcombers at first, which was kind of funny.
It was on purpose.
You think that was on purpose? Yeah. I'm curious if Rickles was around a lot, given how much John Stamos, it seems like the 2 most hangoutable people in the world for him are you and Don Rickles.
Well, he loved Don Rickles. It was like a father figure to him, but Don passed away. And John asked me to get involved with his wedding to Caitlin, his beautiful bride. And I did. I helped to pronounce him. I had another pastor married him. And so I was really touched by the fact that he asked me to do something so important in his life. I mean, he's always said about touring with the Beach Boys, he said it's like a dream come true and the highlight of his life. So he could not be more, generous in praise and appreciative of being able to come out. And, before he was Blackie on General Hospital, he had a little 3-piece band in Southern California. And he told me once that he drove his bicycle past my parents' house and looked in the windows and could see the gold albums on the wall. So he's been a Beach Boy fan since he was a kid.
Wow. Probably around that same era was the release of my favorite Beach Boys album, which is the 1980 Nebworth live album. Is that a concert that you look back at fondly?
Yeah, it was, we've had nothing but success in England. I mean, we've done Royal Albert Hall several times. Amazing place. It's like, I say, for Catholics, it's the Vatican. For musicians, it's Royal Albert Hall.
Sure.
It's a spiritual experience just being there, and to be regarded so beautifully or highly in England, like for instance, 1966, Good Vibrations went to number 1, and we were actually voted the number 1 group in Great Britain, number 2 being the Beatles, and so what an honor, what a fantastic thing to be regarded that highly. And so, yeah, Nebworth being in England, it was a very special, it's always been a special time whenever we had the opportunity to go to Great Britain.
Well, 2 quick questions and then you're free. And the first one is, you famously made the song Rock and Roll Music a hit again with the Beach Boys, and you perform it live more often than not. But what music does Mike Love actually listen to or like these days? Well,
it's funny. People ask me that, and I say, I probably turn on 60s on 6 on Sirius XM to see if they're going to play any of our songs. I like the music from the 60s, honestly. Come on, not only the Beatles and the Beach Boys, but what about Motown? What an amazing array of talent, And so I just like that kind of music. I have a debate with my youngest daughter, Amba, who's a great singer and a songwriter as well. And she would, several years ago, she would say, "Oh, this is a great song, Dad." I said, "First of all, it's not a song. It's got some good beats, but this guy rapping about, dubious things. So, there are kinds of music that are a little bit more, up my alley than others, but so if it's got some harmonies, and it's got some nice chord progressions, and it's got a great performance, I'm all ears, But so I'm just kind of diverse in what music I get exposed to because of my kids, believe it or not.
And the last thing that I want to ask is just totally out of nowhere, but your band obviously influenced multiple generations of rock bands. Was Mike Love ever a fan of the band Van Halen?
Yeah, I like rock music. Yeah. But, our style has got more influenced by the Four Freshmen and the Everly Brothers blend and the doo-wop harmonies and stuff. So we tend to gravitate towards more of the harmony kind of thing. But I love Jimi Hendrix, and I love, any of the more powerful rock bands and stuff. They're amazing, Rolling Stones, all of that. It's all good. That's the beauty of music. There's something for everyone. And we're just, really blessed to be regarded as one of the major groups in modern music.
Absolutely a staple of the Paltrowitz household. So thanks for the many years of great music. And when this all blows over, looking forward to seeing you live again at the Paramount on Long Island or New York City or wherever you play.
Thanks, Darren. Good to talk to you again. And matter of fact, when we come to one of those places you just mentioned, we'll be back on the phone with you.
Paltrocast.